What is up, everybody on YouTube? It's your guy Westivore, and you have come to the channel where you will find the most genuine personal finance and investing advice on the internet. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Today we are going to take a deep dive into credit. I'm going to show you everything you need to know about credit from A to Z. The plan for this video is to be the most comprehensive video about credit on the internet. Why is having good credit so important? How can having a good credit score save you and also make you a ton of money? If you're in your late teens, early 20s, the importance of not being credit shy. Why should you not be credit shy? What is good credit? How to get that magic score over 760 and into the 800s? Why is credit so confusing? There's a lot of confusion around credit. The 3 different bureaus and all the different kind of scores, all the different kind of FICO scores, and now there's the Vantage Score. We're gonna decode all of that. First things first, what is a FICO score? The FICO score is a 3-digit number that measures the lender's risk for extending a borrower credit, aka making a loan to that borrower. In simpler terms, it basically tells the lender how good you are at paying back your debts. What are your financial habits like? If you have good financial habits, they're gonna wanna make a loan to you. If you have not so good financial habits, they're not gonna wanna make a loan to you. Or they will, but it'll cost you a lot more because you have to now pay for the extra risk that the lender is taking on. So basically, this 3-digit score tells the lender, will you make your payments on time with no hassle? The lower your score from a lender's perspective, the less likely you are to make your payments on time, and it's going to be a hassle for them to get the money that they are owed. Okay, moving forward. So the first most important thing that you need to understand about credit is that risk costs money. When you're a trustworthy borrower with good financial habits, the lender takes less risk when issuing you a loan. And therefore, the cost of borrowing money, the interest rate, will be much lower, significantly lower. If your credit score, however, indicates that you may be a riskier borrower, they are going to be charging you a much higher interest rate to compensate for the added risk they are taking on by extending you the credit, aka giving you a loan. So this is the fundamental reason why it is so important to have a high credit score. It tells the lender that you are a low-risk borrower and you are very, very likely to make all of the payments on time with no hassle. Because you're such a low-risk borrower, they can charge you the lowest interest rate that they feasibly can, which will save you and make you a lot of money, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. For example, when you take on a loan to buy or lease a car, your monthly payment is going to be much lower because your interest rate will be lower because you are a low-risk borrower. Now, one of the biggest and most impactful and important reasons to have a high and healthy credit score is to purchase real estate. Why? Because the largest purchase that most Americans will make in their entire lifetime is their home. And if you can take out a mortgage with the lowest interest rate possible, you are going to save yourself and potentially have the opportunity to make a whole lot more money in the future. So let's talk about this a little bit more. So when most people buy a home, they put 20% down and the other 80% is loaned from a lender. Every tiny fraction of a percent of interest charged on that large 80% loan can end up costing you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future. So now, do you want to save yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars or throw it away? I think you'd rather have it for yourself by obtaining a low interest rate. That is why having a high credit score is so important, because you can save a lot of money whenever you need credit for a mortgage, for a car, or for a business. So how do you get this low interest rate? By having a high credit score. Let's keep going. Now, in addition to having credit extended to you for either the purchase of a property or a car or to lease a car, the other important thing that credit can do is help you jumpstart or expand your own business to a whole new level. You're going to need great credit in order to borrow the capital necessary to expand your business. If you have poor credit and you want to start a business or expand an existing business, the business is going to have to be much more profitable, which is difficult because you're going to have to be paying back the additional interest on that loan. So we don't want that. Now, the credit score that 90% of lenders use in the United States is called the FICO Score. FICO is an abbreviation for a corporation known as the Fair Isaac Corporation, originally Fair Isaac and Company. It was founded by Bill Fair and Earl Isaac in 1956. They're a data analytics company based in San Jose, California, which focuses on credit scoring services. So real quick, let's just talk about the whole microeconomy of the FICO Score. FICO developed a credit scoring technology, a credit scoring service based on your credit report that they license to the 3 credit bureaus. The credit bureaus who assemble your credit reports then sell your credit reports with the FICO score to banks, lenders, and the general public. So in other words, lenders buy risk scoring products from the credit bureaus who license FICO technology. Then the banks and lenders make loans to you based on the information in the credit report and based on the score that you are given, the FICO score. So that's basically a snapshot of the microeconomy of the FICO score and how all of those decisions get made before you are extended credit. Over 90% of lenders base their decisions on the FICO score. There are 3 credit bureaus in the United States: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. They house your credit data, which is reported to them by creditors and lenders. Creditors and lenders will either report back to one credit bureau or all 3, or 2, whatever. So this is why your credit score and credit report may have slight variations from one to the other credit bureau. So then the credit bureaus take all that data and compile it into a credit report, which contains information about loans, credit cards, inquiries, late payments, etc. All right, the second most important point is that you don't automatically have credit. No one automatically has credit. You don't start with credit. It's not like your social security number that you get one when you're born. To get a credit score, you need to have a credit account, like a credit card, open for at least 6 months, and the creditor has to have reported data about your credit worthiness, your payback habits, to a credit bureau. In other words, you basically have to have a credit card for at least 6 months. All right, so now that we talked about the 3 credit bureaus and how to get a credit score, let's talk about building that score up, because it's not going to start off as high as you'd like it to be. So there are 5 categories that affect your FICO score. Payment history makes up 35% of your FICO score. This is basically whether you've paid past credit accounts on time. Amount owed makes up the next 30% of your FICO score. This is the amount of credit and loans that you are currently using. So if you have a lot of debt, 30% of your score is being affected by that debt, which is pulling your score down. Now, the length of your credit history is the third factor, and that affects 15% of your score. This is basically how long have you had credit. So if you can handle the responsibility of having a credit card, you better go get one so you can start establishing your credit. You can go buy 1 cup of coffee every month and just pay it off on that credit card, and that will start giving you a credit history, and you can show creditors that you responsibly pay back all your debts. So the fourth factor is new credit, and this makes up 10% of your score. Basically, new credit consists of hard credit inquiries on your credit report and new accounts that you've opened. So when you go to a bank and apply for a credit card, when the bank pulls your credit report, that will lower your score a few points. I think it's pretty silly, I think it's pretty stupid, but that's how it works. But then the score will start to regenerate shortly thereafter. And the fifth factor affecting the last 10% of your credit score is your credit mix. So this is the mixture of all your credit. So that includes credit cards, retail cars, mortgages, finance plans, car loans, etc. Okay, so our next very important point about credit is, what is a good score? How high does your score need to be to get the lowest rates on a mortgage? So as of today, lenders assign the lowest interest rates to borrowers with FICO scores of 760 and above. So that means you want to get your score above 760, all the way to 800 really, but at least above 760, because that is the benchmark where you can get the lowest interest rates and save yourself a lot of money. interest rates will significantly increase as your credit score drops below 760. Here's a chart that shows in December 2018 the annual percentage rate, the APR, for 6 ranges of FICO scores, and the monthly payment amounts, including both principal and interest, for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. So the interest rate is not going to change for 30 years. So over the course of 30 years, the difference between the highest interest rate and the lowest interest rate, all those monthly payments, the difference is about $100,000. So right there, you save yourself $100,000 by having that high 760 and above credit score. Now, remember when I said having a high credit score can potentially make you a lot of money too? Well, that's because all that extra money that you're saving when you have the lowest interest rate, you can invest into the market and get a return on that throughout those 30 years. That's what's called the time value of money. Now, if we were to take that $288 every month that we would be saving and throw it in the stock market, if the stock market grew at an average 7% from now to 30 years down the road, that $100,000 would actually be worth $300,000. Basically, by getting that 760 and above FICO score, you get the lowest APR, you take that extra money that you're saving, invest it in the market, use the time value of money to get yourself an extra $300,000 in the future. That's pretty good. The next incredibly powerful way to build your credit is by smashing that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you can get more great personal finance and investment advice. All right, back to the video. So one thing that's so confusing about FICO scores is that there's actually 19 different kinds of scores. So how do you know which one to use when there's 19? Well, let's talk about that. The 19 different scores are all divided into 2 categories. There's base FICO scores, which are generic, and there's industry-specific FICO scores, which are more specific to borrowing money in the specific industry that you are using that money in. So while each model of the 19 FICO scores has some unique characteristics, the most important thing is that paying your bills on time is going to strengthen all your scores across the board. So it's really not that important to worry about the 19 different scores. The moment we've all been waiting for. How do you raise your FICO score? Let's get that 800 score. Number 1, pay all your bills on time. Never be late paying a bill. Delinquent payments and collections can have a huge negative impact on your credit score. If you are behind on payments, get current and stay current because it will cost money. On all revolving credit, such as credit cards, keep your balances low and paid off. You don't want to have too high of a credit utilization. So if you have a $10,000 credit limit on your credit card, only use $500 to $1,000 of that and then pay it all off at the end of the month so it's always zero. This is because high credit utilization rates do have a serious impact on your FICO score. Lenders don't want to see that if you have, let's say, a $20,000 credit limit, that every month you're using $15,000 of that credit. That's not good. They'd rather see you using, $500 or $1,000 of that credit. Low utilization rates help your credit score. Now, here is a big tip. Don't close unused credit card accounts. This is because the length of credit affects your score. You want to show lenders that, oh yeah, I've had credit for this amount of time. If you close all the accounts that you don't use anymore, the length, your credit history will shrink. So you want to show lenders that you have a long history of credit. So don't close old credit card accounts that you don't use. Keep the balance at zero, leave them open, and then forget about them. Another important way to maintain and build your credit is that when you do want a loan and you're shopping interest rates around various lenders, do the interest rate shopping within a short period of time. FICO scores are intelligent and they know that if you're shopping around for interest rates for, let's say, a mortgage, it's not going to dock you every single time a lender pulls your credit. It knows that you're searching for loans because you're doing them all in a short period of time, and your score won't be affected as drastically. And the last tip is basically to have a mixture of credit and manage it all responsibly. So basically, the most important takeaway is to have a credit card, pay it off every month, continue pushing your debts down, and don't close old credit card accounts. All right, now the last thing we are going to talk about is how to check your credit report and your credit score for free. You can request your own credit report from all 3 credit bureaus once a year for absolutely no charge, for free. Now, this is just your credit report. This isn't the FICO score, but you can see your credit report, which is what the score is based on, for free. You can request 1 to all 3 of your credit reports from the website annualcreditreport.com. And this is a legitimate website. As you can see when you go there, it is operated by America's Federal Trade Commission. Now, let's say you want to see your score because you're more curious about the score. You've looked through the report, but you're really wondering, well, what is my credit score? Well, I have a few tips to getting a glimpse of your FICO score. So this is going to be a topic of a future video, but I'm going to give you some places where you can go look up your score right now. Discover Credit Scorecard will tell you your FICO 8 score from Experian for free. Another place to get your FICO 8 Experian card for free is freecreditscore.com, which is a website owned by Experian. So it is legit. It's owned by the actual credit bureau. Many people use Credit Karma to get an idea of their FICO score. However, Credit Karma, keep in mind, uses the Vantage 3.0 score, which is a score that is a pretty similar scoring model to the FICO score. So you can use it to get an idea of what your FICO score may be. But keep in mind, it is the Vantage score that is used at creditkarma.com. Credit Karma will tell you the Vantage 3.0 score for TransUnion and Equifax. Most American Express credit cards will tell you your Experian FICO score. All right, I'm going to be making another video about all the places and resources you can use to get a glimpse of your FICO score for free. All right, everyone, so that is pretty much everything you need to know about credit. In the future, I'll be making more videos that dive deeper into the specific topics that we talked about today, but today was just a big general overview, a comprehensive video that tells you basically everything that you need to know about credit and how having a great and healthy credit score and great credit worthiness can help save you and potentially make you a ton of money in the future. Like that example that we used where we earned $300,000 extra, $100,000 from the interest and $200,000 from the time value of money to net ourselves an extra $300,000. So please do me a favor and like this video. It really helps me out. Subscribe to the channel, ding the notification bell, leave me a comment, let me know your thoughts, let me know your questions, and we'll talk about it. What else do you guys want to know about credit and investing? Be sure to watch the other videos on my channel all about investing, building wealth, growing your net worth, how to build a stock portfolio for long-term gains. And I will see you guys all in 2019. Take care.